Greetings, welcome, and thank you for clicking. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, encouraging your journey with Reiki, card reading, and coaching for life's changes, challenges, and transitions. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Ask the Stones, offering spiritual guidance and encouragement for life's challenging questions. Greetings, welcome, and thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Ask the Stones. Our question comes from Kelly. The holidays are coming and I'll be visiting my family. I love them, but we come from different worlds. I don't agree with their politics, and they think I'm going to hell with my Reiki and crystals. I was able to get out of the holidays last year because of COVID, but it looks like I can't this year. What do I do to keep myself sane? Yes, Kelly, thank you for this question. This is, of course, a common occurrence, and I think it's even rather common with people who are into Reiki and crystals and other types of endeavors that are similar. And so your question, Kelly, is a common question. And even if you take out the crystals and the Reiki, I mean, why would you want to take out the crystals and the Reiki? They're awesome. But even if you take out the crystals and Reiki, you could insert anything, everything, all kinds of things, nothing, and lots of people are going to have this same kind of experience. As a matter of fact, I think this is probably pretty darn common. So thanks, Kelly, for this question, which is probably going to be helpful for others as well. Well, at least that's the hope, right? I might say a bunch of garbage, who knows? But anyway, Kelly, thank you so much. So I definitely have some thoughts and consideration for you on this. And I do want to say that anything that I mention here, of course, is not the end-all be-all of this kind of situation. There are going to be plenty of other recommendations and suggestions. There are going to be plenty of other viewpoints. There are even going to be viewpoints that conflict with mine that are no less valid. So in other words, I want to encourage you to maybe look into some other ways and some other possibilities beyond the ones that I mention and the ways in which I encourage you. So no way am I an expert on this. And even if I were, I would still say, Kelly, seek other opinions, ideas, thoughts, and support, because it is out there, and what I say may or may not resonate with you, and that is all okay. So Kelly, how do you handle this very common situation? Well, let's first of all acknowledge that it is very common, that probably the vast majority of us have had experiences in which we have felt I'll use the word disharmony. That's the word that's just come to mind, in which we have felt disharmony with our loved ones, family members, and in which we have felt like we are not like them, we are different, and we just can't see eye to eye, or we are like oil and water, to use a couple of cliches. And so this is something that I think 99% of us have had an experience with at some time in our lives, even if it's just been for a fleeting time. This is something that often happens, especially as we have, quote, growing pains. That's just what came to mind. I don't really think that's the best way to describe it, Kelly, but what I'm getting at is these times in our lives when we are claiming our identity, when our identity is shifting and changing. Most often we'll find this experience with young people who are breaking away from their parents and their family and forging their own sense of self in the world. And so this, by the way, is something that can and does happen again and again and again in our lives. And so what that means is that most of us have had this kind of experience. And my guess is, Kelly, that this experience that you're having with your family right now, in which you are feeling like your worldviews don't align, and that maybe their way of looking at the world and moving in the world and experiencing the world isn't exactly the way in which you move through the world and experience the world. I'm going to make a guess here and say that this maybe isn't the first or only time that this has been your experience, Kelly. And I'm only saying that because I know how common of an occurrence this is, and how just so very normal it is for us to have this feeling with our family members at different points in our lives from time to time, or at least once or twice in our lives. So, Kelly, with that assumption, I want to encourage you to maybe take a little bit of time to sit down and to think about those times in your life when you have really felt like, oh, our worldviews are just so different. You know, we come from different worlds. And to examine and see if maybe there have been times in your life when that's been an experience that didn't center on things like Reiki and crystals. So, maybe as a young person, maybe you had some feelings of, oh, we just come from different worlds, as you were exploring new things, trying on different ways of being. I don't know, maybe dyeing your hair or getting piercings or tattoos, or any of those other kinds of ways where often we claim our identity and assert who we are in the world. So my guess is that, Kelly, crystals and Reiki are not the only way in which you have claimed your identity and asserted yourself in the world. And so I want to encourage you to just maybe look back on your life and consider times in your life where you have had this feeling of, well, we come from different worlds. And you're probably thinking, yeah, Christian, my whole life. So that could be the case too. But the reason that I want to encourage you to do that is so that you can see that obviously you're still in touch with your family. You tell me that you love them. And so you still have a relationship with them despite those previous challenges, despite those conflicts of points of view in the past. You still love them, and you are still in touch with them, and you are still going to see them, even maybe if it's not the preferred way for you to spend your time. So I want to encourage you to just note the ways in the past how you have been different from them and how you've gotten through it. You're still connected to them. You still see them, interact with them, and ultimately and most importantly, love them. So that's my first recommendation for you, Kelly, is to maybe just recognize that this isn't the first time that you've had these feelings. And, no matter how things may play out, I don't know, maybe someday your parents might be, or your family, I'm saying parents, I'm sorry, you don't say parents, you just say family. So maybe your family is going to love Reiki and crystals at some point, but probably there will still be areas of conflict because that is such a normal and natural thing. I think one of the things that is sometimes challenging for us as human beings, and I think one of the things that is especially challenging for people who gravitate towards things like Reiki, is this desire for harmony and this desire for everyone getting along, and that we really all need to work to make sure that we all get along and that we all agree. Well, there are billions and billions of people in the world, and not everyone is going to agree with you. And if they did, it would probably be a pretty boring world in which there would not be nearly as many opportunities for our growth. And so I think that it's important to not acknowledge in this instance that harmony is not necessarily something that we always need to be striving for, and that it is okay for there to be disharmony and disagreement, and to acknowledge that, and to not be fighting and striving and trying to get everyone to agree on everything. You could be going into meeting with your family and really trying to convince them that Reiki and crystals are absolutely wonderful and great, and that they should be carrying around selenite in their pocket. But we don't have to do that. We don't have to. We can have our things, our beliefs, our ideas, our enjoyment of Reiki and crystals, and we don't have to try to convert people to them. And that is all okay. We can like the things that we like, believe in the things that we believe in, and not always be trying to convince other people to be like us. So I think it's okay to sit with the disharmony. Now, this is one of those instances, Kelly, in which someone else may disagree with me. Someone else may not have harmony with that perspective. And that's okay. Someone else may be saying, yes, we should be striving in our family relationships when we go home for turkey and Christmas trees, whatever holidays you might be celebrating, that we should really be striving to see things and from each other's point of view. And yeah, okay, I agree with that, but that we should be coming to an agreement on our beliefs and the areas where we agree, and just creating this real sense of harmony. And that doesn't mean that perspective is wrong by any means. So what I'm saying is that I am appreciating the disharmony of the disagreement with those two viewpoints on the idea of harmony. Yes. But yes, Kelly, so it is okay, what I'm saying, for you to not see the world in the same way as your family, and vice versa. It is okay for them to not see the world in the same way as you do, as challenging as that is. Of course, we want people to have happy, healthy, fulfilling lives. And to those of us who are Reiki practitioners, we may be thinking, well, but Reiki is one of those ways. Sure, maybe it is for us, but maybe not for others. And so it is okay, Kelly, to sit with that disharmony and recognize that it exists, and to not feel the pressure to try to, quote, fix it. It is okay for them to have their views and for you to have yours. So when it comes to interacting with them and being in their presence and sitting with those feelings of disharmony, we can still try to create, or I should say, recognize areas of connection. Because for as disparate, as different as your worldviews are, you still have ways in which you are connected. And so I want to encourage you to consider those ways, those common threads that you have, and the connections that you have with them. You know, one of the great ways that we can connect with others is through food. And during the holidays, food is very central. And so, you know, maybe putting focus on food, the foods that you've enjoyed together over the years, the things that your family likes to cook, family recipes, and the shared memories of those foods. Just finding ways in which you can create, and like I said, maybe not even create connections because the connections are already there, but rather recognize those connections and put the focus on those connections rather than on the ways in which you're different. So putting the focus on the ways in which you are similar and have shared experiences and the ways in which you are connected, rather than putting energy into focusing on and thinking about the ways in which you are disconnected. Connection is actually one of my three keys to a deeper, more meaningful life, and even, I'll dare say it, a more spiritual life. The other two are awareness and meaning. But in this experience, I'm really going to encourage you to focus in on connection and the ways in which you feel connected to them and have a connection with them. And that may be a million different things in your family. I just know that typically in families, food is a great way to connect. And so focusing in on food may be a really great way to connect. Now, this may be for some people a real part of the challenge. This may be a real challenge in terms of the worldview and the experience. You know, I know someone out there is thinking, oh, great, Christian, I'm vegan and my family are a bunch of big meat eaters. How do I get around that? And it is focusing again on those ways in which you are connected and the things that you can enjoy together. So maybe a cup of coffee or tea or something, but those similarities and focusing on those rather than the ways in which you are disconnected. So that's one of my encouragements for you, Kelly. Another encouragement I have for you in managing the time that you'll be spending with your family is to focus on gratitude. Now, you'll know if you've listened to me at all that I am a big proponent of gratitude. I truly do believe that it is the number one way to create more awareness, meaning, and connection in our lives. And it is the number one way for a deeper, more fulfilling, again, I'll dare say it, spiritual kind of existence. And I think that gratitude can be really helpful for you, Kelly, in your situation. I mean, gratitude can help with any situation, but I really think it will be helpful for you in this one to sit down and think about the things that you are grateful for with your family. So, you know, what are some of the points of gratitude that you have with your family? You know, maybe you have a sibling that you have had a really great shared experience growing up with, or maybe you have some really fond memories. Maybe, I don't know, playing after school or whatever it might be. To give gratitude for that, and to give gratitude for all of those things that you can bring to mind that you're grateful for. Maybe your family doesn't see eye to eye, but maybe you had some fun family vacations, or maybe there was always a roof over your head, or maybe the bills were always paid. And if none of those are true, well, maybe you always did have enough to eat, or, fill in the blank for your situation, Kelly. And if you are challenged to find things to be grateful for, go small. So rather than going big and thinking about the big things, which depending upon your family situation might be a challenge, go small. Go small, 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 small. And it might be, oh yes, that one Hanukkah when my father gave me X, or my mother baked those cookies, or whatever it might be. Just the tiniest things. If it is difficult to give gratitude for big things, we moved around a lot and my parents were alcoholics and the bills were never paid and I had to take care of myself. All of those may very well be true. And can you find some small points of gratitude? Some small things to be grateful for. And when it comes to gratitude, we can always, Kelly, just simply be grateful that we're not them. I'm teasing here, really. But, to be thankful that we are who we are because of them. That we are who we are because of our family and their influence. And so if that means that you are very different from your family, well, we can give gratitude for our family, for making us into who we are, including people who aren't like them and people who don't have the same kinds of worldviews. So what I'm saying, Kelly, is that if nothing else, we can always give gratitude for the ways in which we are who we are because of the influences that have shaped us. And your family has been an influence on you. And so we can always give gratitude for that. Definitely giving gratitude for that. I also want to encourage you, Kelly, to look at this situation in terms of ways in which you can use it to grow. When we are challenged in relationships, whether they are family relationships or any other kind of relationship, those challenges are oftentimes such a point of annoyance and frustration for us when we can step back and look at them as opportunities for growth. And so maybe visiting your family is a real opportunity for you to grow your patience muscles, or your gratitude muscles, or your capacity for compassion. When we deal with or interact with people whose views conflict with our own, or people who press our buttons, this is a great opportunity for us to explore, to reflect, to consider, and to grow. And so I want to encourage you to think, Kelly, about ways in which you could approach visiting your family as an opportunity for growth, as a way for you to expand and be more of the person who you want to be more of the person who you are striving to be and growing towards. So I want to encourage you to just step back and think about it, and think about how you might be able to use these challenging experiences for your own personal growth, because the possibility is certainly there. So when your uncle starts talking about his political views that differ from yours, it may be a great opportunity for you to say to yourself, how can I use this experience as an opportunity to grow? And some might say, hey, Kelly, this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions, to see things from his point of view, to expand your own worldview. Sure, you could do all of those things. And you don't have to. And if you ask yourself that question, how can I use this as an opportunity to grow? It's going to allow you to change your perspective on this, and to see it rather than as something that is being done to you, as something that you can take control of in terms of the way that you use the experience and what you get out of it. So asking yourself how it is you want to grow through this experience can be really helpful for you while you are visiting your family. I encourage you to reflect upon that beforehand, reflect upon it while you're visiting, and even reflect upon it after your visit. So that may be helpful for you, Kelly. I have a few other recommendations for you. I definitely agree with approaching this from a standpoint of compassion and working to bring compassion into this experience. And using it, like I said, as an opportunity to expand your compassion. And for me personally, one way that I like to do this is that when I am challenged with someone, a family member, a coworker, a boss, a friend, whoever it might be, I like to picture them as a child. So, how might they have looked as a kid? And to picture that person who is really annoying me as they were as a young child. And for me, that really helps to increase my capacity for compassion for them. To say, oh, yes, this person is a person who has gone through childhood, experienced childhood, all of those challenges, all of those traumas, and just wanting love and to be loved, and needing nurturing and wanting that. And I think that for me, at least, it's a lot easier to love kids when they're a pain in the butt because they're kids. And so for me, I find it helpful to just picture them as kids. And it also has helped me. I will say it has helped me with family members too, because picturing them as children and just thinking, oh gosh, the things that they may have gone through as a child, the challenges that they may have had as a child, and how that has or may have impacted them and who they are today. That helps me to feel more compassion towards people who are rubbing me the wrong way. So I offer that up as a possibility for you, Kelly. But definitely I will always encourage compassion. And so seeing them and this situation and yourself from the standpoint of compassion, I think can really help you to tolerate this experience. And along with that idea of tolerating, maybe you might want to find ways that you're not just tolerating it and that it is enjoyable, like through those possibilities of connection that I mentioned earlier. So find some reasons for joy and gratitude and connection and enjoyment of this experience. And maybe there may be more unenjoyable moments than enjoyable moments, but we can focus in on those enjoyable moments. I also want to encourage you, Kelly, to recognize that you're going to visit, which means that you will be coming home. So this is not a long-term thing. You know, as you are visiting, take solace in the fact that it's not forever. You will be leaving. You will be returning to your own home, and that you will not be there forever. So you can always look forward to returning and take joy in the fact that the visit is temporary, that it is short-lived. So that is a way to help you get through that experience as well. But like I said, you know, I encourage you to think of ways in which you're not just getting through it, but rather you're enjoying it. So you're not just surviving, but you're also thriving during your visit. I have a few other recommendations for you, Kelly. And one of them is to encourage you to maybe do a ritual before you leave. So you may want to do some kind of a protection ritual, a grounding ritual, something that really helps to prepare you for moving into this space that is different from your own, and that even may feel unsettling to you. So some kind of ritual. You may also want to do some rituals while you are visiting. So I don't know how long you'll be visiting. I don't know if you'll have time to yourself, but these do not need to be elaborate rituals. Just something to do in order to help bring yourself back to center, to help balance yourself and ground yourself, protect yourself, and to help remind you that you are powerful and that you have power over the way in which you approach this experience, and you have power over protecting yourself and your energy, and sending out love and compassion and gratitude during your visit. So you may want to do a ritual or two during your visit. And then finally, when you return home, definitely I encourage some kind of ritual of letting go, releasing that experience, releasing that energy, and signaling that you are back in your own space. You release any negativity from that experience, and you are back, you are grounded, you are safe. So I encourage you to do a ritual when you come back to signal to yourself that, oh yes, I have returned. Here I am in my own space. I am safe. All is well. You may also, Kelly, want to carry some crystals in you. So you may very well want to put selenite in your pocket. Selenite, by the way, everyone, is a great crystal for clearing. It never needs clearing. And it is a great crystal to carry around in your pocket, just even on a daily basis, to help keep the vibration high and to keep lower vibes away, and to ground and center yourself. So selenite is great for that. Other crystals too, whatever might resonate with you. I'm sure, Kelly, that you have your own crystals that really resonate with you. So I encourage you to lean on them, use them, take them with you. No one else has to know that you are using them, that you have them with you. No one else has to know that when your uncle starts talking politically, or your family is watching football and you hate it, no one has to know when you stick your hand into your pocket that you are holding on to your selenite wand. No one needs to know that. And so we can use our own tactics and techniques that people don't need to know about, and they can be for us, by us and for us. So I encourage that, Kelly, because I'm sure that you already have tactics and techniques and things that resonate you. So lean on those. I also want to encourage you to use Reiki. You are a Reiki practitioner, and so I want to encourage you to send Reiki to your visit. So before you go, maybe for a time leading up to it, days or weeks, however long it is, to set aside time and send Reiki to that visit, just with the intention for whatever resonates with you. Of course, I'm not going to tell you what your intention should be for the visit, but you may just want to send an intention for a positive visit, a happy visit, a loving visit. I don't know, whatever resonates with you, Kelly, but lean on Reiki and use Reiki. Reiki is there to support you. So know that you can send Reiki to your visit. You may also want to send Reiki to your relationships with your family. You may want to send Reiki to your relationship with that uncle who is going to talk political talk and you don't want to hear it. We have lots of tools at our disposal, so let's not be afraid to use them. All of the things that you do to keep yourself grounded and centered and to keep your cup full are things that you can take with you. Things that you can draw upon while you are away in this space that is not your own, and interacting with people who might challenge you. So definitely draw upon those things, those resources that you already have. They aren't going to leave you as soon as you leave the house and go to your family. They're still with you. So call upon them, draw upon them, use them. Speaking of calling, you may also want to call upon your guides. Use your guides, lean on them, call upon them to assist you and help you. That may be a real benefit to you as well, Kelly. So, a couple more things I want to say on this. And I'm going to send Reiki to your visit, Kelly. But, I think one thing that, for me at least, is helpful to think about when it comes to challenging family experiences is that if you are annoyed by interactions with your family, probably they're annoyed with interactions with you. So, if your family is thinking, oh, Kelly, she's got those crystals and she's got that Reiki, oh, she's going to hell. They're looking at you in terms of the ways in which maybe you don't meet their expectations. Just as you are looking at them in terms of the ways that they don't meet your expectations. And so, Kelly, what I'm saying is that when it comes to our family members, and we might look at our family members and say, ugh, I wish my brother was XYZ. Ugh, I wish my father had done ABC, and I wish that he was this kind of father to me. And ugh, my mother, this is wrong with her. Well, they may very well be looking at you in the same way. So if you're saying, my father is not the kind of father that I want or that I would like to have, well, your father might be looking at you and saying, that child is not the child that I wanted to have. And this is not a terrible thing. For me, my father wanted a son, and here I am, but I'm sure I am not the son that my father wanted. I am sure that I am not the son that he envisioned so many years ago before I was born and he was really wanting a son. Here I am, he has a son, but probably I'm not the son that he wanted. And you know what? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with his vision and what he wanted or expected or would have liked out of a son. And there's nothing wrong with me for not meeting whatever expectations those might have been. Now, I'll say I don't know that for a fact. I'm just, saying, hey, chances are probably pretty good. Because, there are lots of ways in which we don't see eye to eye and we don't have the same worldview. Oh, actually, Kelly, yeah, pretty similar to you, I guess. But that, for me, I actually take comfort in recognizing that and saying, oh, my dad XYZ. Well, you know what? Yeah, you XYZ. So I think it can actually be really helpful to allow us to release judgment of the other person by saying, oh yeah, they don't meet my expectation. I don't meet their expectations either. They don't meet my expectations. Oh yeah, I don't meet their expectations either. And then maybe we can just release expectations and say, yeah, this person is who they are, and I accept that about them, and I love them, and that's all okay. Because I am who I am, I accept myself, and I love myself, and that's all okay. And so, Kelly, I don't know if that might be helpful for you, but it actually has been helpful for me to say, oh yeah, well, yeah, I'm not the person that this person expected or wanted either. And that's okay. Because we still love one another. And you, Kelly, love your family. And so I want to encourage you to focus on that. Now, finally, I want to say that ultimately, you have the choice whether or not you go visit. Ultimately, you have the ability to say whether or not you want to go visit. And you have the ability to set boundaries for yourself, Kelly. So I want to encourage you to think about it. And, if this is the kind of situation that is just so dreadful for you, do you really want to go after all? And if not, that's okay too. But I do know that you love your family. And there may be a part of you, a piece of you that does want to see them, despite how challenging it might be. And so, Kelly, I just want you to honor what you want in this, to honor your decision or not to attend, to really think about what it is you want, and to set up any boundaries that you need to, because boundaries are healthy. boundaries are positive. And, if you were deciding that you, after all, didn't want to go, offering that honestly and, telling your family, I love you, family. I would like to come visit. I'm sorry I can't because. And then giving them a reason why. Now, Kelly, you're not saying in your question, how do I get out of this? But we also want to make sure that our relationships do feel good, even if they have moments of not feeling good and they have moments of disharmony and challenges. But, if you really do want to interact with them, at least on some level, and to have a connection with them, then I think it can also be helpful for you to just recognize that setting up boundaries around that, like, okay, I'm going to come on this date, I'm going to stay for this long, or I'm only going to visit for this many hours, or whatever it might be, or I'm staying at a hotel, whatever it is that you need to do for yourself to keep yourself healthy and sane is important. And to honor that and to not apologize for that. And if you're given pressure about it, give them a because. Well, family, I really need to stay at a hotel because fill in the blank. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go to Aunt Marge's for Christmas Eve because. And give a self-centered because. So, not maybe saying something like because Aunt Marge's house smells, rather turning that, it may be true, Aunt Marge's house might smell, but, turning it on yourself. And so in other words, having some compassion for your Aunt Marge and her stinky house. Certainly, I'm sure Aunt Marge doesn't realize that her house is stinky. But anyway, those are some recommendations for you. Now, of course, there's so much more to say about this, and there's going to be additional recommendations out there. I encourage you to seek out other opinions, other ideas. I am not an expert on dealing with family members. I'm fortunate, by and large, I get along really well with my family. I love my family. Even if we do have our disagreements and our challenges, all families do. That's a very common thing. And it is also okay if you feel that your family relationships are so toxic that you need to stay away. That's okay too. I think it's important for us to release judgment of where we are in terms of our familial journeys and our experiences with our family members. So, Kelly, I'm going to send Reiki to your visit. And like I said, I want to encourage you to do the same for yourself. So please join me in taking 3 deep cleansing breaths. I am going to send everyone Reiki to all of our family visits, our family relationships and experiences, whether you are seeing your family over the quote-unquote holidays, as Kelly mentions, or not. Whatever that might look like for you, however your family relationships might stand, I want to send Reiki to all of that. And of course, as always, if you don't want the Reiki, don't worry, it won't go to you. So please join me in taking a few deep cleansing breaths. Thank you. So Kelly, as I started sending Reiki immediately, I saw a big bridge. It was kind of like the Golden Gate Bridge. And the message here really was very clear. Just an encouragement for you to find ways that you can bridge the gap. Now, it might be a big divide. It might be a very long gap, a very wide gap. It might be a very long bridge. But just some encouragement here for you, Kelly, to think about the ways in which you can bridge that gap with your family, and to consider the ways that you can go from your place to their place, and what can serve as that bridge. And when I say their place, I mean metaphorically, like where they are in terms of their life journey, and where you are in terms of your life journey, and just considering that bridge of where your family is, whatever family members these are. Like I said, I don't know, but I want to encourage you to visualize the bridge as you are preparing for your visit and while you are visiting. So, Kelly, I'm going to pull for you a Celtic Dragon tarot card, and let's see what pops out of the tarot for you for your trip. We very clearly have two cards. Ha 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 ha. Oh, I love it. I'll tell you, my spirit guides have a great sense of humor. So one of the cards, two cards very clearly popped out together, and one is the Ten of Pentacles. And the Ten of Pentacles on my Celtic Dragon Tarot is very much a card of homecoming. So you have the image of a big castle, the drawbridge is down. Bridge, I love it. Thanks, angels. The drawbridge is down, and you have two people, a couple, walking across the bridge into the castle that is filled with light. And so what a great card. You're returning wherever it might be, whoever your family is. I don't know if this is your home that you are going to with your parents. Whatever it is here, Kelly. The image here is just so stunning that this is a homecoming in a sense. And what I'm getting from this card with this idea of the castle filled with light is an encouragement for you as you picture visiting your family and going to see them. Picture that space, picture that home filled with light. Picture light just filling every corner of that home, expanding throughout that home. See the light just busting out of the windows and doors. I think this may be a great visual for you. Thank you, guides, for this amazing visual. But definitely this card is one of homecoming, one of a peaceful homecoming, one of a warm homecoming, so warmth and love and light. And so I want to encourage you to consider that as you visit your family and as you prepare for that visit. What's also striking about this card is that the people walking across the drawbridge, it's a couple. It's not a single person. They're not alone. And so here is the encouragement, Kelly, that you are not alone as you do this. I don't know if you have a partner. I don't know if you're going with someone or other people. At the very, very least, of course, you have your spirit guides with you. You have your angels accompanying you. So know that you're not going into this alone, and that you can call upon them, or even call upon any physical companions that might be going with you. So know that you are not going into this alone. The other card that popped out was the Ace of Pentacles. So interesting. 10 of Pentacles and Ace of Pentacles. We've got some good fortune going on here, I think, Kelly. But the Ace of Pentacles is all about newness. It's about growth. It's about new beginnings. And on this card are 3 baby dragons hatching. And so I want to encourage you, Kelly, to think about this homecoming, in a sense, as an opportunity for growth, as an opportunity for new beginnings, as an opportunity for some hatching of eggs, and maybe just a new way of viewing your relationships. I do think that gratitude really helps us to bring new perspectives to any relationship. And so maybe, again, focusing in on gratitude and the things that you're grateful for about your family and your relationships, your experiences with them, as you consider how this might be a new beginning, a new way of looking at the relationships, and just an opportunity here definitely for growth. Your own growth at the very least, Kelly, which is no small thing. So thank you so much, Kelly. It is an honor and a pleasure to have your question. And I want to send blessings and gratitude to everyone. Of course, right now in the Encouraging Your Journey group on Facebook, we are talking all this month about gratitude. And so I want to encourage you to pop on over and share the things that you are grateful for, and to consider gratitude as we focus in on this month of November and all of the innumerable things that we have to be grateful for truly. So I send blessings and best wishes and great gratitude to you. Until next week. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ask the Stones. If you have a question for Ask the Stones, please send me an email at christian@standingstoneshealing.com or connect with me on Facebook at Standing Stones Healing. Thank you, and best wishes for your journey.